Hello, everyone. This is your host, Susan Rosin, and my guest today is Udo Erasmus. I think I got that right.
Yep, you
Okay,
did.
good. And Udo is going to introduce himself, like I usually ask everyone to do, and tell us, Udo, a little bit about yourself and your background and how you ended up in
Here.
dealing with all of these oils and things.
Yeah. Yeah. So um, I'm 81. I was born in 1942 during the Second World War in Poland, which was then part of Germany. And my parents
Mm,
came from Latvia and Estonia. And there was a lot of politics involved in that. So I don't want to particularly get into that.
yep.
Was a refugee kid when I was 2 and grew up very shy because I
Mm,
didn't know what to trust and I never felt safe. So I got into
for
the
good
world of
reason.
books because books are safe. It's a
Uh-huh.
nice way to tour the world without
Yeah.
any personal danger. and uh,
Yes.
and always wanted to know when I was 6 years old.
Mm,
I heard adults argue about really, really trivial things, and they'd get so intense about it. And it would make me feel so uneasy because of my background, right?
mm.
And it occurred to me, it's like, wow, there must be a way that people can live in harmony. And this little
Mhm.
cocky voice says, I'm going to find out how. And so that's kind of been my driver all my life.
Hmm.
And I got into, when it came to education, my parents believed in education. So I got into science because I wanted to understand how things work. Because when
Okay.
you feel insecure, but you understand how something works, you get a certain
Uh-huh.
amount of predictability and security from that.
Yep.
That's why we do science, right? Predict and control.
Mhm. Mhm.
Then I got into biosciences because I wanted to know how creatures work.
Uh-huh.
And then I got into psychology because I wanted to know how thinking works. So all like if you want to know how to live in harmony, these might be important topics. And
Yeah.
then I got into medicine because I wanted to know what health is.
Mhm.
But we only learned about disease in medicine because
Mhm.
it's not healthcare, it's disease management.
Yes.
There is no healthcare in healthcare. Hygiene is healthcare. And living in line with nature and your nature, that would be healthcare. But we're not doing that. We're doing
No.
symptom suppression, crisis intervention. Uh,
Money.
yeah, that
It's
that
all it
too.
all it all comes down to
Yeah,
money.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I left after 1 year. My
Mm.
dean told me. I asked him, "What is health?" He said, "We don't know. We're working on it." And we were also told in first year medicine that if uh, a doctor should always sound as though he knows what's going on, even when he doesn't.
Oh, good. Okay, that's
Now,
helpful, huh?
yeah, and we call that lying on the
Yeah.
farm where I spent part of my childhood.
Thank you.
And I said, okay, I don't think this is for me, and went back into biological sciences because
Uh-huh.
in biological sciences, you're actually studying normal creatures living normally in normal situations. So
Uh-huh.
that's getting closer to health.
Yeah.
So you're going to learn more about health in biology than in medicine. So I
Mhm.
went back, ended up in biochemistry and genetics.
Oh,
And then there
wow.
was still stuff missing that in my personal development. So I left university. I figured out
Uh-huh.
I'm not going to find it at university. And
Mm.
I had looked around pretty much everywhere, social psychology and anthropology and a little bit of
Mm.
theology, and said,
Mhm.
no, what
Mhm.
I'm looking for is not at university. Then I spent some time with psychedelics, and
Ah,
those
yes.
and I did an LSD event,
Uh-huh.
and it blew the door off my war baby personality because it was like, oh my God,
Oh my God. Yes.
there's 1,000 ways to live, and I didn't realize it was like that. We had so many options, but that just like,
Yeah.
and I laughed and cried the whole
Mm.
time listening to Mozart music and laughing in time with the
Oh,
music.
wow. Uh-huh.
And what was so funny was that it struck me as the biggest cosmic joke that everything that I was so studiously looking for in my studies, I was a really good, pretty good student in that sense.
Uh-huh.
But everything I was so studiously looking for and not finding was all within me. That
Mm.
struck me as the greatest joke. And then I began to do that, and I started doing quiet practice, stillness practice,
Mm-hmm.
self-knowledge practice.
Mm.
And, because it's important to be present in the space your body occupies. But
You
our
think?
senses will always take us away from it. And so we
Yeah.
have to spend some time actually going back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then I got married. I did a lot of different blue collar jobs because I wanted to know what it was like to be in the shoes of the people doing those jobs. I
Mm-hmm.
figured that was a good thing for a citizen to have some knowledge of. And then I got married and we had 3 kids and my marriage broke up and I was super upset.
Oh, I
And
bet.
I wanted to kill something. And so I took a job as a pesticide sprayer.
Oh no.
I did. I had a license. I got 99.5% on my exam to practice spraying pesticides. So I knew my stuff. So I took this job and I was super careless. I walked over lawns I had sprayed
Oh
barefoot
no.
till the skin
Oh
peeled
no.
off my feet. Then I wore rubber boots.
Oh,
But it was a
gross.
summer job and I wanted to have a tan because I was vain. So the wind would drift a spray on my back because I was driving around this tractor with a boom and I was in a bathing suit with rubber boots, right? After 3 years of being super careless, I got poisoned by the pesticides I sprayed.
I
And
bet.
I ended up getting um, uh, low energy. I was 38 at the time, 1980.
Mm.
And if I walked around a city block, I had to rest. So I was like an old
Mm.
guy, like an old man,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I got cramps and nausea and dizziness. And
Yeah.
if I turned my head, it felt like my head turned, but my brain didn't.
Mm.
And it was
Okay.
like, obviously, when your head turns, your brain turns. But it felt
Yeah.
like my head turned, but my brain didn't. So it was a
Yeah.
really strange experience.
It
Went to
would
the
have been. Yeah.
doctors, went to
Uh-huh.
the doctor, said, "What do you have for pesticide poisoning?" And I got the beautiful answer, nothing. And that day it became super clear to me. And I sort of always knew it, my health is my responsibility. But that day the penny just really dropped. Oh my God, I'm on my own. It's up to me. I've been
Yeah.
poisoned by pesticide. I have cancer to look forward to. There's no cure from medicine. So got to do it on my own. So because
Mm-hmm.
I had the background in biological sciences, which was
Uh-huh.
super helpful to me,
I bet.
I got into the journals in Medline. There were 16 million citations of studies.
Oh my.
I didn't read them all, but I read a
Yeah.
lot of them.
Good.
And
Mm.
I read everything that had to do with health and nutrition, disease and nutrition, on the
Mm.
basis that your body is made out of food,
Mm-hmm.
plus water and air, but I was thinking
Yeah.
food at that time. So your body's made out of food. So if something goes wrong with your body, then you need to look at how you're building your body if it's made
Mm-hmm.
from food. So you
Mm-hmm.
got to change something here, what
Mm-hmm.
you eat, right? And the idea is this, that your body turns over 98% every year. 98% of the atoms in your body today
Right.
are will have been removed and replaced if we meet a year from now.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean? That means if you raise your standard for nutrition, or if I raise my standard for nutrition, because I'm the guy who's sick here, right? If I raise my standard for nutrition within 1 year, I will have rebuilt my body 98% to a higher standard. That's what healing is. That's why healing is possible, because your body's always turning over.
Right.
And as it turns
Right.
over, you give it other things to work with.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're the right things you give it to work with, then healing happens.
Yeah.
So I got into that, and I was looking at all the essential nutrients, 18 minerals, 13 vitamins, 9 essential amino acids, 2 essential fatty acids. Those are the 42 essential nutrients that your body can't make, but has to have, that if you don't get enough, eventually kills you. So these are like these essential building blocks for body constructed. And I got stuck on oils because it was the most confusing area of all of this. And it went like this. I read a study that's omega-6 is an essential nutrient. That means you got to have it. You can't make it. You got to get it from outside. If you don't get enough long enough, you die. But if you bring enough back before you die, all of your problems from not getting enough are reversed. That's what essential means. So I'm reading omega-6 is an essential nutrient. Those are the 42, right? Omega-6 is an essential nutrient. The very next study I read out of the same database says omega-6 gives you cancer and kills you.
Oh,
and my head exploded. It was like,
I was going to say, yeah.
Wait, what the hell? How can something that is essential for health at the same time make you sick and kill you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly.
And it was like, I didn't say, well, somebody's cheating on the studies. That didn't occur to me. I would think about that now because there's a lot of people cheating on studies. But at that time, I was more naive, and I said, well, I assume they're doing the study, and I assume these guys are doing the study, and they're reporting honestly what they find. What am I missing that I need to understand?
Okay.
To come to terms with this complete contradiction. And it was that contradiction that forced me to look deeper into how oils are made. And what I found out is that what we blame on omega-6s, or people blame it on seed oils, and then they say, don't use seed oils. We're blaming something on seed oils that should not be blamed on seed oils, because omega-3 and omega-6 are essential. You have to have them. We should be blaming the damage done by seed oils and omega-6s on the damage done to the omega-6s by the processing when the oils are being made.
Okay.
And so what is that processing? Well, they treat them with sodium hydroxide, a very corrosive base. Then with phosphoric acid, a very corrosive acid. Then they bleach them to take out the color molecules. And that makes them rancid, and now they smell bad, and now they have to heat them to frying temperature to deodorize them. And that's how you get a colorless, odorless, tasteless oil. In that processing, you take out all of the antioxidants and the flavor molecules and the color molecules and any anti-inflammatory molecules that might have been in the seed that the oil came from. So those are removed. That's why those oils give you inflammation, because that's the spark control. They remove that. That's why sugar gives you inflammation, because they remove all of the antioxidants, anti-inflammatories from the sugar cane or the sugar beet. And you're getting the fuel that throws spark, that builds a good fire in your body, but you lost the spark control. That's why processing is not a good idea most of the time. So in that processing, on top of losing your spark protection, they also damage about 0.5 to 1% of the molecules.
Wow.
And when I found that out, I called them. I called the Oil Chemist Society. I said, I want to talk to a researcher. They gave me the researcher, put him on the phone. I said, when you know this does damage to the oil, why do you do this? And he said, well, one of the reasons that we do that is because when we deodorize the oil at frying temperature, so this oil's been fried before it goes in the bottle, we can remove half the pesticides in the oil.
Oh my God.
And my head exploded again. I'd been poisoned by pesticides. I'm thinking, oh my God, I didn't even know there were pesticides in oils. And my thought to myself was, you mean the other half of the pesticides stay in the oil?
I was just going to say, they're still there.
And so I said to him, instead of doing that, I said, well, why don't you start with organically grown seeds? Then you don't have any pesticides to begin with. And then you don't have to heat the oil to frying temperature to get rid of half of them.
Right. You can save all that money.
And there was total silence at the end of the phone for like, I don't know, and
he didn't know
1,000 years.
Say.
1,000 years. It was probably 15 seconds.
I'm surprised he didn't hang up on you. But yeah,
very long silence. And when he got back, he was really angry. He says, I don't know what your problem is. the oil is 99% good and it's only 1% damaged. And if you got 99% on an exam, you'd be damn happy, wouldn't you?
That's different.
So now,
That's different.
so now I backed off and I thought, well, maybe I'm overreacting. It's only 1%. And, so I said, okay, well, in doubt, do the math.
Mhm.
So the question I asked is, if you have a tablespoon of an oil that is 1% damaged by the processing, how many damaged molecules would be in that tablespoon?
Okay.
And I want you to answer that question because you'll see why in a second. So just guess. I know you don't have a basis for making that guess, so just guess.
I would
anyway.
guess that all of it's bad for you then.
Well, no, you can't be all. It's only 1% damaged.
Okay.
So how many damaged molecules would you find in a tablespoon of an oil that is 1% damaged by the processing?
I don't know how many. I don't know how many start in it.
I know. This is why it's hard to answer the question. I ask this question all the time when I do live talks. I always ask several people for their question, for their answer.
Guess.
And they guess.
Yeah.
So give me a number.
But I have nothing to base it on.
I know. But we're all in the same same pickle, right? Every human being is in the same pickle. We don't have a basis. We don't know how big molecules are. We don't know how many molecules are in a tablespoon of oil.
Well, somebody must be able to have figured that out at some point.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I did.
Okay.
That's
and
what
the answer is
okay. Yeah. You don't want to guess, okay? But
no,
okay.
I don't.
So the answer is that when I ask this question, the highest estimate of damaged molecules that people ever give me is always more than 1 billion times too low. So people say 1,000, 1 million, 1 billion, 1 trillion, but it's actually 60 quintillion molecules. That's a 6. That's a 6 followed by 19 zeros. Okay. So you go 1,000, 1 million, 1 billion, 1 trillion, quadrillion, quintillion. So in a tablespoon that is of oil that is 1% damaged, there are 60 quintillion damaged molecules.
And how many good ones that aren't damaged?
99 times that many.
Okay.
Right? Because it's only 1% damaged, right?
Yeah.
And so you can still say, oh, well, it's only 1%. But here's the thing. These damaged molecules never existed in nature. So life never made a breakdown program for them. So they get into your body, into places where an oil has a function. And they then interfere with that function because they're not the right molecules anymore. And you're getting more than 1 million damaged molecules for every one of your body's 60 trillion cells in 1 tablespoon of an oil that is 1% damaged.
Oh my God.
But most people use 2 to 4 tablespoons. So you'd have to multiply that by 2 to 4. And if you fry them, you probably got to multiply the damage done by frying by another 10 times. And then you have pesticides in the oil. And you have plastic in the oil because they put them in plastic bottles, and plastic leaches into oil quicker than into water.
Yes.
So, my head was spinning. I said, oh my God, I cannot get healthy on oils like that. We should make oils with health in mind. And what does that take? Well, omega-3 and omega-6 are very sensitive to damage by light, by oxygen, and by heat.
Okay.
So in making the oils, you got to start with organic. So you have no pesticides.
Yes, absolutely.
Then you press them through the whole pressing, filtering, settling, filling process. No light, no oxygen, and only low temperature should be in touch with the oil so that you don't get that damage.
Right.
You put them in glass bottles because glass does not swell when oil goes into it and then leach into the oil.
Dark glass?
Dark glass bottle. Yeah, and then if you want to be really OCD like we are, then you put the dark glass bottle in a box to cut the light out completely.
Yeah.
And then you keep it in the refrigerator in the factory. If it's more than 2 weeks in transit, it's shipped refrigerated. Like when we go to Europe and Asia with the oil and Australia, it's shipped refrigerated.
Okay.
And then it's shipped it's refrigerated in the storage places. It's refrigerated in the stores.
Mm-hmm.
When you get it home, you refrigerate it.
Mm-hmm.
And you never use that oil for frying. You add it to foods after they come off the heat. You use
Okay.
water for cooking like we used to do when I was a kid, because then you don't burn the food. When you fry foods, fried foods fry health. Fried oils fry health. Whether you fry carbs,
that makes sense.
If you fry carbs or proteins or oils, each one independent of the other two increases inflammation and increases risk of cancer.
Wow.
So oils need to be made with health in mind. And then the year after I got poisoned, so this is in 1980 I got poisoned. 1981, it was established that omega-3 is an essential nutrient by the definition I gave. Can't make it, gotta have it, gotta get it from outside. If you don't get enough long enough, you die. If you bring it back before you die, all of the problems that come from not getting enough are reversed. Well, omega-3 fits. That's one of the 42, right? And then I found out 99% of the population doesn't get enough omega-3 for optimum health. It is 5 times more sensitive to damage than omega-6.
Wow. Yeah.
Every cell needs it. And my head exploded, but this time in a good way, because I said, oh my God, if we could make omega-3s and 6s with health in mind, and you could get the two balanced in the right ratio, and we could bring these made with health in mind oils back to the population, we could improve the health of 99% of the population. It's like, my God, oh my God, I could help almost everybody. And it's like, there's something that feels good in the heart when you can help, whether it's an old lady across the road or it's somebody who's turning the map upside down, trying to figure out where they are and where they need to go.
Exactly.
Whatever it is, whenever you can help somebody in some small way, that feels good in the heart. It's just something about human nature. Helping feels better than hurting.
Oh, I agree.
Right? And so I went ballistic. It was like, oh my God, we could help almost everyone. And if we could make them with health in mind and then bring them back to the population, oh my God, amazing. And so that got me going to develop a method for making oils with health in mind. And I've gotten some awards for doing that, starting the industry of making oils with health in mind, specifically the industry of making oils with health in mind. And then going out and educating in 40 countries and living out of a suitcase for 6 to 9 months for 15 years. Doing a tour through the US in 1988 in the hottest months, July, August, half of June, half of September, 101 days to 85 cities, 35 states, 17,000 miles by road in a van without air conditioning, where I slept on the floor of the van. And we had our clothes on a broomstick inside the double doors of the van.
Okay.
And when we
and how did you keep the oil cold?
We didn't take the oil with us. The oil got shipped. Okay. And when we got hot and sticky, we would walk into a Marriott like we owned it, and then go and clean up and take our showers and wash our clothes and wring them out, and then get back into the van and continue. So it was literally, and I had no business background. I had good science background. And we started a business and we made decisions. I mean, right and left, day after day, decisions on standards, decisions on who we would work with. We wouldn't work with anybody who wouldn't take care of our oil. And
well, that makes sense.
Yeah, and we would say to them, "Do you have refrigeration in your storage space?" If they said yes, I'd hand them over to the guy who did the deals. If they said no, I said, "Are you willing to bring it in?" If they said yes, I'd say, "Call us when you have it." If they said no, I would say, "This is a good time to end the interview." And we literally would not do business. We were starting from scratch, and when you're starting from scratch, you want sales. No, we stuck to our standards. And what carried that whole thing was the enthusiasm. We were so lit up.
Uh-huh.
And literally people like that. When somebody's lit up, it's very attractive. I
Yes.
didn't know
Oh,
that. I didn't
absolutely.
know that. You don't run a business on enthusiasm.
Yes,
I
you
don't think
do.
they teach you that in business school. But the truth is, everything
That's
that
what
runs
works.
on passion,
Oh, for
right?
sure.
If there's no
Yes.
one who has a passion, why many of our product problems are not getting fixed? Because nobody has a passion for fixing them.
No, they're
They're
bored
just
with it.
waiting. No, and they're just wait for the money, and the money isn't going to fix it if the enthusiasm doesn't go with the money.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so that was built. It was built on enthusiasm, and then flaxseed oil was the first oil we worked with because it's the richest source of omega-3. And then I became omega-6 deficient on it, and I got dry eyes, skipped heartbeats, arthritis-like pain in finger joints, and thin papery skin, and decided, fixed it by eating more omega-6s, and decided to make a blend that is better balanced than flax oil. Flax oil has too much omega-3, and so we changed the ratio. So we got, and it's a blend because you can't do it with one oil. And so we developed a blend that's basically a one-shot deal for everything you need that's good for health from oils, and nothing you should avoid that's bad from oils.
So are people supposed to be cooking with your oils, or you're supposed to be just taking it straight, or
no?
Tell me more.
Okay, never fry with Udo's oil.
Okay,
never fry with
the oil. I don't fry with any oil. So
yeah. No, because frying is the worst thing we've ever invented to do to food.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, it is the dumbest thing we've ever invented. And because when you burn food, then you increase inflammation and cancer. You burn oil, you increase inflammation and cancer. When you let oil, they're the most sensitive nutrients we have. We should treat them with the most care. We treat them with the least care. We throw them in the frying pan, watch them turn into smoke. If you turn oil into smoke, you've changed the chemistry. And your body, if you wanted to eat smoke for lunch, and you think you could be healthy on that, well, good luck with that, right? So, but we do it. And we just been bamboozled by an industry that makes money out of oils that wanted to get people using oil instead of water for cooking. Because they say, if we can get people to fry instead of cook, oh my God, how much oil we could sell.
Does that apply to butter as well?
Any fat or oil.
Okay.
If it turns the food brown, you're burning the food.
Okay.
Now, the hard fats are less toxic when you fry them than the liquid ones.
Okay.
But there's nothing good for frying. The least bad is saturated fats. But they also interfere with the essential fatty acids. So then you need more essential fatty acids if you're using those.
Oh, okay.
So there's a balance between those. So the best thing is cook in water and then add oil to the food afterwards. Oils belong with food. They enhance flavors.
Yeah.
They enhance flavors and they improve the absorption of oil-soluble nutrients. And all whole foods have oil-soluble nutrients that are good for health in them.
So do you add
you never
add the
okay.
So you add the oil when it's hot, when the food is still hot?
That's,
I mean,
it's
I understand
okay to do
not
that.
necessarily in the pain, in the
it's
pan,
okay
rather,
to do
but
yeah, it's okay to do that. You add it just before you start eating it.
Okay.
Yeah, and oils go in any food. You can put it on fruits, you can put it on vegetables, you can put it in starches, you can put it on protein.
Okay.
Except with starches, you have to be careful because starches, when you eat more than you burn, your body has to turn the excess into fat.
Oh, okay.
And if you're eating carbs and you have normal weight, then you add oil on top of the carbs, then the carbs are going to get burned first. Oh. Because too many carbs is dangerous.
Okay.
And then the system doesn't work and you might put on some weight. But the weight you put on doesn't come from the oils because the oils turn on fat burning and turn off fat production in the body, and the carbs turn on fat production and turn off fat burning in the body if you eat more than you need. So that's
Okay.
so it's important to remember that. But I put oil in oatmeal. I just eat a little less oatmeal because oil
Ah,
is good fuel. Oil,
okay.
omega-3 is the best fuel of anything that we eat. Highest energy fuel. We've done
Uh-huh.
studies with athletes where we give them the right balance of omega-3 and 6. The omega-3s are the ones that get you more energy, 40 to 60% increase in energy if they practice their sport to exhaustion within
Wow.
30 days of starting on a tablespoon per 50 pounds of body weight per day
Hmm.
of that oil blend. So and we done
Okay.
it in both strength and endurance sports.
Wow. Wow.
And they
Wow.
make nice skin. We actually measure optimum intake by how skin feels. If your skin is dry, you need more of the right kind of oil. Yeah,
The
and
last and just recently, like the last couple months, all of a
yeah,
sudden
well, yeah, as it
just
gets cooler
flake
among
off of everything. Yeah, but it's
yeah
never
in
happened before. It's
okay
hot here
in
today.
okay in winter it's more, you notice it more than in summer. In dry weather you notice it more than in humid weather. But if
Okay.
your skin is dry, you need
Mm-hmm.
more oil, and here's why that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Your skin gets these good oils last and loses them first,
Oh,
because
that makes sense.
if your heart didn't get the
Oh,
oils it
your
needs,
organs and stuff. Yeah, go
yeah,
first.
you'd be history if they didn't get enough. So the way nature works it is you can live with dry skin, so
Uh-huh.
skin gets them last and loses them first. And so we measure
Okay.
optimum by how much does it
And it's
take to
and
make
it's
you,
this way, not that way,
yes, oiled from
right?
within. Best way to
Yeah.
oil your skin is from within. So, and it's usually about a tablespoon per 50 pounds of body weight per day, spread
Uh-huh.
out over the course of the day, mixed in foods. And it could be a
Ah,
little
okay.
higher than that, could be a
Okay.
little lower than that. We have
Okay.
athletes who
Okay.
take twice as much. That would be
Yeah.
50% of their calories. And they rant and rave about how quick they heal and how much more energy they have and how
Uh-huh.
much better they do in their sports
Oh,
and
I'm
how
sure.
much quicker they recover from fatigue. And
Uh-huh.
yeah, it's really quite remarkable. Omega-3s, and the big deal is that omega-3s are exceptionally good, but they have to be made with health in mind, and they're 5 times more sensitive to damage than omega-6s. So you really
Mm.
have to pay attention. You can't cut any corners. And that's our claim to fame, is we didn't cut any corners. That's why they retain their health benefits, and that's why
Uh-huh.
we get such
Uh-huh.
good results.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
So
that's
is
why
it
I'm
best
still
to just put it in a spoon and take it, or is it
no,
better to do
always
it with food?
always mix it in food. There are lots of
Okay.
people who take it off a spoon, but I've never recommended that. No, oils belong with
Hmm.
foods. Yeah, and sometimes people take it off a spoon and then they say to me, I don't like the taste of your oil. They say, well, how did you take it? Well, I took it
Right.
off a spoon. So then I ask them, well, when is the last time you took a cooking oil off a spoon? And
Yeah.
she says, well, I never do that. Well, why are you doing it with mine?
Yeah.
No, always put it in food. Always put it in food.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So
Interesting. Interesting. I'll have to find some food to be putting it in with, because I don't typically use oil for much. I use
yeah.
mayonnaise occasionally for salmon salad, but that's about it.
So put the oil in salmon salad and forget the mayonnaise. The mayonnaise is
Okay.
made with damaged oils, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to think what kind of oils.
They
I don't
usually
even
use
remember.
canola or soybean,
Mm-mm,
sometimes corn, not usually
mm-mm.
corn actually in North America.
Yeah, no, it's not.
They
I'll
usually
have
use the
I'll have to look
cheapest
it up.
oil they can find.
Avocado
Oh
oil.
yeah, okay. The
We
avocado
use
oil,
those.
there are no standards for avocado oil.
Okay.
So they probably make it out of rotten avocados and then do a whole
Oh,
chemical feast on it. And then
oh,
you get the
gross.
damage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Eat the avocados, in the avocado, the oil's fine,
Oh yeah,
right?
no, 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 I do. I do.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have I have a quarter of an avocado
Yeah.
every morning with my
Yeah.
salmon salad.
Yeah. Yeah. They're
Yeah,
they're good
yeah,
they're good
yeah.
food.
And then
They
I
have a
and then I eat guacamole along with it. So,
yeah,
lots
yeah.
of avocado.
Yeah, yeah, but you don't know what's in the oil. and
Okay.
because there are no standards have been set for it. It's been
Right.
recommended there should be standards set for it,
Yeah.
but the standards have not been set.
Interesting. Yeah. And the other thing, just as an aside, the other reason I love avocados is because even all the pesticides and stuff don't get through the skin. So you don't even have to buy out organic. You don't
Right.
have to spend that extra money
Right.
on that.
Yeah.
Spend it on something else.
Unless they use a pesticide that's systemic, because there are pesticides that are absorbed into the foods. I don't know what they use on avocados.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I've seen a lot of tests that have been run on avocados, and they've never found anything that gets through the skin on any of them. So
okay. Yeah,
I take their word for it, which I probably shouldn't, but yeah.
Yeah, it depends on who does the tests, because
I was going to say,
because sometimes what people do is they only test for the pesticides they know are not in it.
That's a good point.
Yeah. We're living a time where you need to take everything with a grain of salt.
A big grain of salt, which is not good for you either.
No, potassium salt, that's good for you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so so in that sense, it's better to go organic. Even that sometimes that people cheat, but if it says organic, it's more likely to be organic than if it doesn't say organic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you have to pay attention more than you ever thought you would have to.
Yeah, I think it was actually, I'm trying to think, the people I had read that with is the Environmental Working Group. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
I know them by name, but I don't know enough about them to have
they test a lot of things, and they come up with their clean 15 and their dirty 15, and stay away from those and just eat those.
Yeah, and there are people who do honest research, so it's not like you can't believe anything. No.
I'm just saying, they're one of the ones that are very very, very good about it.
Yeah.
But
anyway, that's the oil story. And then I started saying, well, what else needs attention? The second thing that needs attention, digestion. It's the hardest working system in your body. And everybody's got something going on with their digestion. Burps and gas and bloating and pain and, allergies and sensitivities. And so what do you do for digestion? Well, the single most important change we've made from how it was in nature is that we cook our foods. See, in nature, life's mandate for every creature that eats, fresh, whole, raw, organic, local, in season, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
And when you cook foods, you kill the probiotics on the food. They should be replaced. And you destroy the enzymes in the food that do up to, on average, 60% of the digestion for you. So those two should be replaced.
I was going to say, so that's why we all take enzymes. Yeah.
Correct. That's why we take enzymes, and it makes a huge difference. And when you take enzymes, not only do they take a load off the digestive system, because when you cook food, you actually more than doubling the work the digestive system has to do. You're making it easier in some ways, but you're making it harder in other ways. So what you're doing when you take enzymes, you take a load off your digestive system, and that in turn takes a load off your immune system, because when digestion isn't working, your immune system has to get involved.
Oh, okay.
And then when you take enzymes or you eat raw foods, your immune system is free to do its other jobs, like get rid of infectious organisms that make it through your skin, or digest up protein coats off viruses that chase you down, or get rid of digest inflammatory proteins or old cells and dead cells. So the immune system has a lot of other functions in the body, but its first function has to be to make sure that nothing undigested gets from digestive tract into your body.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's not able to do that. And then you get all kinds of problems.
Mm-hmm.
So those two, digestive enzymes, probiotics, and then fiber. So that means more plant-based. And fiber is good for bowel regularity. It's also the best food for probiotics.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last one is bitters, which are herbs that help both in digestion and in liver function and function and detoxification.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's the second. And then I started working with greens, because greens are everybody knows they're supposed to eat their greens. A lot of people don't. So we made portable greens for people who wanted a little bit of better control when they're traveling or and you throw them in shakes, so it's quick as well. And then I started looking, okay, what's next? And I started thinking, well, actually everything affects health. So you have to give everything its due. And then I started getting into mindset, and then I started getting into inner practice to feel content, because when you feel content, you actually reverse aging. But that requires you to take some time every day to do nothing except breathing. Breathing is automatic, but you sit down, you do nothing. You shut everything off, you get your phone off the hook, put your gadgets away. If somebody rings the doorbell, let them wait. Let the world wait. You're going to take some time just to be present in the magnificence of your own existence. And it feels so good, because you're unconditionally loved by life. Your body is unconditionally loved by life. You want unconditional love? It's running you. You ain't going to get it from the outside. All love on the outside has conditions. Even mother's love is not unconditional.
That's very
true. But the love of life for your body is unconditional.
Yeah.
And so when you feel that, you feel cared for. And when you feel cared for, then you're in a position where, okay, where can I help? What needs to be done? How can I make the biggest splash for good in the time I have? It changes your relationship to the world into a very, very positive one.
Yeah.
But if you don't feel cared for, then you want somebody else to take care of you. And you're basically trying to get other people to do your homework for you, and it doesn't work.
Right. And we know where that goes, right?
Yeah, that goes where my relationship worked. When my marriage broke up, why was that? Because I couldn't get in touch with the love to bring it into the relationship, and she couldn't get in touch with the love in her to bring it into the relationship, and we both expected it of each other.
Right.
And then we blamed
not of yourselves.
And then we blamed each other for not getting it.
Yeah.
That's how we kill that relationship. And basically by both of us not doing our homework. So that's the recipe there. I just gave you the recipe for a predictably bad relationship.
You certainly did. Right? Yes.
And then even deeper inside is a contentment, is a peace that when you feel it in the core of your own being, you recognize that peace has always been everywhere.
Yeah.
And then you start living into a world as though it was a peaceful world, rather than being a world full of enemies or full of danger. Yeah. And then you start, then you basically passing into the world, your state of being. So what is the best state of being to create a world that works for everybody? You got to be in the peace, you got to be in the love, and you got to be inspired. Right? That's the shine of unconditional love into the world. That's inspiration. So those are all good for long life. And they're also good for finding what your mission is, because once you feel cared for, it becomes really clear what effort you need to make in the world. Yeah. So anyway, so that's
we have come full circle.
We have come for full circle. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you.
We could get into that. We can do another one on the full circle, on the human nature, total health and human nature.
Yeah, maybe.
Only if
do that after the first
only
year.
if you like me. Only if you like me.
Well, I don't know. Let me see how many people listen to my podcast when I
Oh
publish.
yeah. That's true. They
Just
say,
kidding. I don't
don't
care.
ever bring that guy back. Happens.
No, that's okay. Nobody talks to me who listens, so I have no idea what they think about any of them.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I get no comments at all. Whatever. As long as they listen, I don't really care.
If it changes one person, gives some
Yeah,
insight, it's a
yeah,
good thing. At least you have the
exactly.
amplifier to bringing the message out.
Yes,
It's
that's true.
important.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true. Okay, well, let me do my usual here, which is that that neither of us are doctors. This is not to be
Yep.
seen as medical advice.
Yep.
And with that, I will say thank you very much
Yeah.
because it was
Shall I
some great information.
should I tell people where they can
You can go ahead and
yeah.
I will put it in the show notes as well.
Okay.
I'll get the
Yeah.
information from you.
Udo's Choice, UDOS choice.com.
Uh-huh.
That's where we talk about the the products I work with,
Uh-huh.
and the Udo THEUDO.com.
Okay.
That's
Uh-huh.
a website in progress where we talk about human nature and
Oh,
my
interesting. Okay.
my two big projects while I'm still here, to turn total health into a teachable field based in nature and human nature, and turn human nature into a teachable field. It's about time that we got to know ourselves for as magnificent as we are, so we stop being stupid because we don't know how magnificent we are.
You set yourself a very big, tall thing to try and accomplish.
Well, yeah, but thinking big doesn't take any more effort
You're
than
right.
thinking small, so you might as well think big.
Yeah.
And,
No, that's
and,
true.
and then the
That's
question
true.
is, well, let's see how far I can get.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Excellent. Well,
All
that's
right.
certainly a great place to close then.
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you again.